Something has already begun, and you felt it, even if you can't quite explain it. In the past few days, your mind has been buzzing. Words slipped out, phrases you said, and then thought, where did that come from? Ideas are popping up out of nowhere. Messages seem to answer questions you didn't even ask. And this isn't random. On May 20th, the sun enters Gemini. And when that happens, everything you think, feel, or say might start manifesting faster than ever. This energy doesn't ask for permission. It cuts through. You're not making it up. You're tuning into a fast-moving mental field. And when that frequency hits, reality starts speaking loud and clear. If this has already started happening to you, if you said something and it quickly turned into reality, comment 777. That number anchors higher mind. Sealing it means acknowledging you're receiving in real time. You wake up with 1,000 ideas. Open one tab, forget the last one. Remember something else. Halfway through, and before you know it, nothing's done. You think, I'm sabotaging myself? But are you? What if it's not sabotage? What if it's an upgrade? Gemini doesn't want you to finish. It wants you to explore. The sun entering this sign plugs you into an expanding mental network. Everything connects, but not everything is meant to be completed. Some ideas show up just to move you one step forward. You feel lost, but maybe that's just because you're still using an old map for a new landscape. You feel behind, but maybe you're just trying to sprint down a road that changed direction. The sun in Gemini is speed with purpose. But first, it breaks down your idea of focus. What if what you call distraction is really your mind trying to break free from a format that no longer fits? Think about that and observe. You're walking down the street and a sentence pops into your head. Clear, sharp, almost like it was whispered to you. You're talking to someone and suddenly say something that feels like it came from somewhere else. Even you're surprised. The sun in Gemini opens mental channels. You start picking up on frequencies, thoughts, and patterns that aren't exactly yours, but that resonate within you. It's like your mental field just expanded its range. You think more, faster, further. But with that comes confusion. Why am I thinking this? Is this my idea or someone else's? It's not madness. It's gentle telepathy. You're more porous, more attuned. And that calls for filtering, not to block, but to choose what you allow in. What if the ideas coming through are clues, not distractions? What if you're channeling possibilities? Without even realizing it, you'll understand when the silence answers before the words do. You're in the conversation, but also thinking about something else. You're at work, but your mind is replaying a dream from last night, or crafting a reply you haven't sent yet. It's like there are two versions of you, one living here, another mentally drifting between the past and what hasn't happened yet. And this isn't distraction, it's unfolding. The sun in Gemini activates the field of multiplicity. You start feeling like you no longer fit into a single thought, a single rhythm, a single plane. Sometimes it's great. You juggle multiple things at once. Catch subtle details you used to miss. Feel everything more vividly. But other times, it feels like you're not really anywhere. Not fully in the now, not grounded in what's next. And that's when the question hits. Do you really need to pick a side? What if this fragmented state is just your brain adjusting to a new frequency? What if this feeling of being in two places is the first sign you're tapping into more layers of reality? Because sometimes confusion is just the beginning of a new clarity. You start talking, and before you realize it, You've said more than you should, or more than you even knew. Words slip out. Secrets spill. Truths reveal themselves, as if they're done waiting for your permission. The sun in Gemini amplifies the voice, not just your outer communication. It stirs what's been hidden inside. Everything that's been bottled up for too long starts looking for a way out through your words. You say something and realize you're voicing a feeling you've been avoiding for weeks. You respond automatically, but the answer reveals something raw, something healing. Sometimes you hear yourself say something you never thought before, and in that moment comes a revelation. It's like the truth was always inside you, but could only be born once spoken. What if what you're saying without thinking is exactly what you needed to hear? What if your own words are both map and mirror? Don't underestimate the slips. They're revealing more than you planned, more than your logic would allow. You think of someone and they message you, you mention a topic, and that same theme pops up in the next video, on a street sign, or in the mouth of a stranger nearby. It's not just coincidence, it's accelerated synchronicity. With the sun in Gemini, the collective mental field gets more sensitive. You start interacting with it, even without trying. Everything becomes a mirror. Everything becomes an answer. Everything feels like it was scripted by something that already knew what you were going to feel. But don't be fooled. This acceleration isn't meant to confuse you. It's here to show you the world is more interactive, more responsive, more telepathic. And if thoughts are turning into reality faster, then it's time to be more intentional about what you think. What if the universe is listening to everything, even what you don't realize you're saying? What if your mind is the first manifestation technology? If something you thought or said suddenly came true in the past few days, comment, "I saw it before it happened." That's the universe screenshotting your moment and saying, "I heard you first." That's the sign. You're in sync. You try to focus, but everything distracts you. You want to stick to a plan, but midway, another idea shows up, stronger, more urgent, magnetic. You feel like you're losing the thread. But what if it's a different kind of stitching? The sun in Gemini is multi-directional movement, not linear. It invites you to leave the straight path and enter the spiral. A spiral isn't chaos, it's expansion with a different logic. This mental confusion you're feeling now, this sensation of popping on the inside, is because your inner pathways are being rearranged, like a house being remodeled from within. It looks like a mess, but it's preparation. Maybe you need to stop trying to understand everything and start noticing what keeps coming back. Because when an idea returns again and again, it's not a distraction, it's a message. What if your mind is updating in a language you haven't yet learned to translate? In the middle of the noise, the rush, the notifications, a strange moment of silence breaks through. And there, between one mental tab and another, you hear it. A sentence, an intuition, a certainty with no proof. It's not a voice with sound. It's a knowing that insists. The sun in Gemini lights up your mental connections, but also clears the static. It's like your soul's antennas just gained range. And now, amid the flood of information, you're beginning to distinguish what comes from outside and what comes from within. That inner voice isn't whispering anymore. It's making itself heard. Through the chaos, sometimes it speaks as discomfort, as the urge to leave a conversation, as a no, your body says. Before you can even think, what if this new voice showing up is your most authentic self? Finally waking up, you hear yourself saying something and think, that sounds like someone else inside me. You start acting in ways you don't recognize. One day, you're confident. The next, doubting everything. One moment, you're flying high. The next, you want to disappear. It's not contradiction, it's expansion. The sun in Gemini shows you that you're not just one version. You're layers, and layers shift tone. Maybe you're accessing versions of yourself that have been asleep, or forgotten, or are now being updated. It's strange, but freeing, because you start to realize you don't need to be consistent all the time. You just need to be present with who you are right now. What if "who am I today" is the most spiritual question you could ask? What if multiplicity isn't noise, but power? Don't fight for consistency. Fight for presence. In the middle of the whirlwind, the noise, the overlapping conversations, you pause. Not on purpose, not by plan, you just pause. And in that second between one thought and the next comes a silence so clean, it's almost unsettling. You breathe, and something inside aligns. It's not that everything makes sense, but for the first time, you're not trying to figure it out. You're just present. The sun in Gemini does stir you, but it also offers these rare seconds where everything slows down for a moment, and in that moment, you hear yourself, not the mind's voice, but the vibration that exists before the word. And then you understand it's not about controlling the flow, it's about learning to swim in it. What if the space between thoughts is where your truth lives? What if silence is the only voice that never lies? You feel like everything is speeding up. Ideas, signs, cycles, connections, emotions, and it is. But not to overwhelm you, to sync you with a new way of living. Lighter, faster, more symbolic. The sun in Gemini came to show you that you don't need to finish everything to feel whole, that you can speak and listen to yourself at the same time, that what looks like distraction might be direction at another frequency. You no longer need to fake focus. If your focus has moved, you just need to be willing to move with what moves you from within. This moment isn't confusion, it's fragmented revelation, and each piece will fall into place once you stop demanding a straight line and accept the spiral shape of your mind. What if everything you're feeling at once is your true self manifesting in multiple layers? You're not overthinking, you're over-accessing, over-receiving, sensing the world in a more connected way. The sun in Gemini doesn't want to control you. It wants to free you, wants you to speak, to hear yourself, think, to transform, and listen not just to what's said, but to what vibrates beneath it. You'll start noticing patterns, triggers, signs, and when that happens, you won't doubt. If this week hit you with signs, thoughts, or words that exposed you to yourself, comment, "My mind is faster than me." That's your seal, your code, your vibrational step, because now you know when everything happens at once, it means you've found the right rhythm.